Leaked footage, allegedly showing Blueface in what looks like a cooperation session, has the internet convinced they know exactly why he's home early. The streets are talking, the blogs are running wild, and even people close to the situation are starting to question what really went down behind closed doors. Because when you look at the timeline, from attempted murder charges to a simple phone grab.
Blueface is behind bars here in Las Vegas this morning in connection to a shooting that happened last month.
That somehow violated his probation to suddenly being released way ahead of schedule. The pieces seem to fit the cooperation puzzle perfectly. But here's the thing that nobody's talking about, and it's gonna blow your mind when you hear the real legal breakdown. What looks like obvious cooperation might actually be the most clever legal maneuvering we've seen in hip-hop in years. So stick around until the very end, because once I break down what really happened with Blueface's case, you're gonna realize that everything the internet thinks they know about this situation is dead wrong. Before we dive into all this drama, let me break down what really happened from the beginning, because understanding the foundation is crucial to knowing why people even talking about cooperation in the first place. Blueface first got locked up on attempted murder charges after a shooting near Las Vegas Boulevard and Sunset. This wasn't no minor beef. We're talking about charges that could have put this man away for decades. They snatched him up at Lolo's Chicken and Waffles, which means they was watching his movements, tracking his patterns, waiting for the right moment. That's federal level surveillance timing right there. When they got him, they set his bail at $50,000, but here's the crucial part most people don't understand. Blueface's legal team worked out a plea deal that came with very specific conditions. 4 years mandatory prison time if he caught any case anywhere after that. His attorneys got him out of that attempted murder situation, but the price was putting him on the thinnest ice possible for any future legal issues. This type of plea deal is what lawyers call a sword of Damocles situation. You get out of immediate danger, but you're walking around with serious consequences hanging over your head if you make even the smallest legal mistake. Most people would take this deal and move like their freedom depended on perfect behavior. Now this is where the story takes a turn that shows you how emotions can destroy years of legal strategy. Whack 100 told this man to stay out of Vegas while his case was pending. This wasn't just friendly advice. This was strategic guidance from someone who understood that being in Vegas, where the original incident happened, was like playing with fire. But Chrisean Rock hit Blueface with that "is that your daddy" type energy when he said he couldn't go to Vegas. Instead of maintaining his position and explaining the legal consequences, Blueface let his emotions front his move. Love, pride, and relationship dynamics made him ignore professional advice that could have saved him from everything that happened next. So they went to Vegas anyway, and that's when everything went left. A fan approached Chrisean Rock saying they loved her but hated Blueface. Rock was pregnant, emotional, and not in the mood for disrespect. She took off on the girl, starting a physical altercation that was being recorded. Blueface, seeing his pregnant girlfriend in a fight that was being filmed, made what seemed like a protective move. He grabbed the phone to stop the footage. In his mind, he was probably protecting Rock's image and preventing an embarrassing viral moment. But here's where street logic collides with legal reality. Since that phone was worth over $800, they hit him with robbery charges. Even though he gave it back 30 seconds later, even though his intention wasn't to steal, the legal system doesn't care about intentions when the elements of a crime are technically met. That robbery charge violated his California probation in the worst possible way. Remember that plea deal with the 4-year mandatory sentence? That just activated like a legal time bomb. So now Blueface was facing that mandatory 4-year sentence in California, and this is where his legal team had to pull off some serious magic. His attorney, David Kessler, somehow managed to get him 300 days in county instead of the full 4 years in state prison, with a release date of July 3rd. How did this happen? Kessler's team got that Vegas charge reduced from a felony to a misdemeanor, which changed the entire legal calculation for the probation violation. This type of sentence modification doesn't happen by accident. This required serious legal maneuvering. Now here's where people getting it twisted. Just because someone comes home early from federal custody doesn't automatically mean they cooperated. Let me break down the legitimate ways you can get early release. First, good time credits. Stay out of trouble in jail, follow the rules, participate in programs, and you can earn time off your sentence. This is the most common way people get released early. Second, compassionate release for medical issues, family emergencies, and COVID-related releases during the pandemic. Third, sentence reductions through appeals, legal technicalities, and prosecutorial errors. If your legal team finds problems with your conviction or sentencing, courts can reduce your time. Fourth, work programs that get you into halfway houses, home confinement, or work release. And fifth, cooperation, which is snitching. But that's just one way, not the only way. The timing of everything suggests that legal strategy, not cooperation, got Blueface that reduced sentence. When people actually cooperate with federal cases, there's a specific legal process called substantial assistance that requires prosecutors to formally request sentence reductions from judges. That process leaves paper trails and court documents. The fact that Blueface's release seems connected to the plea deal modification rather than any substantial assistance filing suggests his legal team worked within existing legal framework rather than requiring new cooperation agreements. Now here's the moment of truth that's gonna flip everything on its head. Remember that leaked footage and cooperation talk? Let me break down why that's complete cap. First, that alleged footage doesn't line up with any official federal cooperation procedures. Real cooperation requires specific paperwork, formal agreements, and documented substantial assistance filings, none of which exist in Blueface's case. His attorney, David Kessler, pulled off legal magic that had nothing to do with giving information to law enforcement. They got that Vegas charge reduced from a felony to a misdemeanor through pure legal strategy, not cooperation. Here's the smoking gun. When federal inmates provide substantial assistance, there's a specific document called a 5K 1.1 motion that prosecutors file. These are public record. Blueface's case has 0 5K 1.1 filings, 0 substantial assistance motions, and 0 prosecutorial requests for cooperation-based sentence reductions. Instead, we see textbook legal strategy beating the system through legitimate channels. His 300-day county sentence came from plea deal modifications, not cooperation. His early release was calculated based on reduced charges and good time credits, not testimony. The timeline doesn't match real cooperation cases either. Actual cooperation involves months of debriefing sessions, formal agreements signed before sentencing, and prosecutors publicly acknowledging assistance in court. None of that happened. Think about it logically. If Blueface was really cooperating, why would there be leaked footage instead of official court documents? Real cooperation is documented and becomes public record. Secret footage and internet rumors are how fake stories spread. The truth is, this whole situation started because Blueface made an emotional decision to go to Vegas against legal advice, got caught up in a minor altercation that violated his probation, and his legal team worked to prevent serious time. That's expensive legal representation, not cooperation. The real lesson isn't about snitching, it's about making smart decisions when you're walking on legal thin ice. Blueface's situation could have been avoided if he'd listened to Whack 100 and stayed out of Vegas. So the next time you see someone come home early, don't automatically assume they cooperated. The system has legitimate ways to reduce sentences through legal strategy, and understanding the difference might save you from spreading false information. What y'all think now that you know the real story? Did the legal breakdown change your perspective? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this taught you something about how federal cases actually work versus internet rumors, smash that like button.